Yes, indeed, we are back with another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. And I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news, Dan and Carlos will not be with us. As always, I appreciate you guys. Sorry you can't be with us. The good news, I did not come alone. We will have a very special guest coming up in just a moment on this edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. We'll talk about the Commanders and the Giants in a key NFC East swing game and ended in a tie. So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss the kryptonite that the Chiefs have in the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll touch on some injury news and a key acquisition for a team on the West Coast. All that and more coming up next on the Kirby on Sports podcast, brought to you by PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, and Barrett Pest and Termite Services. It all comes your way right now. Once again, the Kirby on Sports podcast. It's a very exciting episode. Once again, obviously, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez, and the weapon, Dan Dembski, cannot be with us. All the best to you guys. I appreciate and I love you all. But I did not come alone. We have a very special guest planned this episode perfectly in a way. We have Nikki Geist. She is a podcaster. She is one of the hosts on the New York Giants Rush. The Giants guys also does great work on the Third and Three podcast and channel Side Bets. She does it all. Let's bring her in. Welcome to the Kirby on Sports podcast, Nikki Geist.
Hi. Hi, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to be with you. I appreciate you coming on first and foremost. How's everything going for you?
Yeah, going good. Thanks for having me. I know we tried back and forth on the schedule here. So this actually did work out because my show just ended and it was perfect timing. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you just got done with your other show.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just going to start off with this. It seems like you're out there doing a lot of sports content, podcasting and stuff. I'm going to take this all the way back to when COVID hit. I saw the huge spike in podcasts, and I don't see that spike slowing down. In your mind, what do you like most about podcasting and the platforms people are on just in general to talk about what they love? In our opinion, you and me, we love sports.
Yeah, I think that's it for me. So I just have like some disdain for mainstream sports media. And that's the great thing about podcasting. We can come on our platform and we can say whatever we want. You know what I mean? I just got off Third and Three podcast, and our thing is no rules. We embrace cursing because sometimes you get mad, right? I mean, I was mad watching the Giants tie with the Commanders. So I think that that's probably the best part about it is you can come on and give your opinion, and not everybody's going to like it, and that's okay. But the best thing about podcasting is it's a really supportive community. I have a great group of podcasters in my network that I know that we will do each other's show. We will cross promote. We will help each other in any way possible. You can call them up. You can text them and just whatever. If you have a question, everybody's so willing to help each other and support each other. And you don't find that in a lot of these networks. So that's probably my favorite thing about podcasting.
Consider it done. If you need cross promoting, I got you. And
I got you too. Yep.
yeah, it's just those connections you find along the way in the world of podcasting that makes it so great.
Yeah.
Because yes, I've had fortunate and continued success with getting big names out of DC media and media all over the place, because I'm usually from DC. It's a lot easier because I'm at the sporting events. I have my business cards I just hand out, like, hey, would love to have you on my show. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But just that aspect of it, you can get the big name people on your show occasionally, but the podcasters, the local podcasters, the people you network with, that's what's really great about it.
Yeah, no, that's the best part. And same, like we can get some of the big names on our podcast. And I do some work covering the Giants for Jersey Sporting News. So, as you know, you have access to certain things and it doesn't always work out. And sometimes you're dealing with athletes, agents who give you a hard time. And, some of these guys are great and they're just coming on and they want to talk about what it was like to be, playing in their heyday. But a lot of my favorite ones are just getting our local podcasters on and getting our friends on and helping. There's a ton of upcoming podcasters. And so getting them on and they're starting, giving them a little bit of exposure. So everybody and their mother's got a podcast now. But we started ours out of COVID. So it was like one of the best things that we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but everybody liked it and we kind of kept going, and we're going to hit 3 years in March. And I can't believe how much even myself that I've grown in 2.5, 3 years from it.
Yeah, I can't believe the Kirby on Sports brand is almost 5 years. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I started it. I had absolutely no clue. And I mean, podcasting was not as accessible as it is now.
Correct.
Give a plug to anchor.fm, because from Podbean to Anchor FM, the best switch you can make, because it's free. And
Yeah.
carefully say free just in case. But
Yeah.
but besides that, it's great. I'm glad to have you on, Nikki. Are you ready to talk some sports?
I'm ready. This is what I do. All it's like every day. It's a new show, but it's fun, and I like to talk to different fans. I know it's been rival week, right? So last week I was doing a lot of like Commander shows. This week I'm doing all Eagle shows. So at the end of the season, I'm just going to take like a 2-week break on an island somewhere because it's getting a little crazy.
Okay, so we'll start off the show. Obviously, my Commanders, your Giants. Ironically enough, the last time the Giants tied, we're playing Washington. So that's the last time they tied. I
Yeah.
remember the last time Washington tied, they were in London playing the Cincinnati Bengals. So it's I've never seen it before. Excuse me, I've never seen a rival, like two NFC East teams tie in my lifetime. And obviously, and I'll get your thoughts on this in a second, Nikki, but from my perspective as a fan and covering the sport in general, this was a huge game for both teams, because A, you have the Giants who were on a losing skid,
Hmm.
and B, you have the Commanders on a hot winning streak, and they're trying to one team had to win, and it just ironically ended in a tie, which could go one of two ways. It could hurt either the Commanders or the Giants, or it could help the Commanders or the Giants, because tie-breaking scenarios are more heavily involved when there is a tie on the record. But your initial thoughts from this matchup and a 2020 tie, because I mean, the last time Washington tied, I woke up early in the morning for a London game, and I'm like, I can't believe we just tied. I mean, the emotions. Where do you place your emotions for something like this?
On Twitter, that's where I rant. I just rant on Twitter all the time. If you guys follow me, you know that. If you don't, you should follow me because it's goes nonstop. That's the thing about the tie, and I really didn't know how to feel. Like it feels like a loss. Like I just kind of felt like this was a loss because I thought the Giants had so many opportunities to close that game out and they just couldn't get it done. And that's the irritating part about it. It's like this is your divisional matchup. This is a huge game, is a huge game for both teams. But I'm thinking like, all right, Graham Gano is going to kick this field goal and we got this win. And he never misses. And he happened to miss twice in this game. So it was just weird. I mean, Feliciano with that taunting penalty, I know it wasn't towards the Commanders, but in my mind, it's like, let's not give the refs anything to interpret. You know what I mean? Like, let's just play this game and get a win and get the hell out, and go home. And, it just didn't happen. So it felt like a loss. It felt like this team could have played better. It felt like they had chances to close out against the Commanders. And, I just have a feeling this tie is going to just bite the Giants right in the ass at some point.
Hey, I feel the same way on the
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I feel the same way. Obviously, yeah, let's just walk through this game. Obviously, the Commanders, they had a hot start. Daniel Jones fumbled, but the Giants defense, the Commanders weren't able to capitalize. We might be talking about a completely different ballgame if the Commanders were able to march down for 6 after that, but holding them to a field goal. I mean, the Giants defense, they played pretty well throughout this game from what I saw. And the second half, especially, able to limit what Washington did offensively, and were able to uh, keep bringing the Commanders' defense back out onto the field. And just towards the end of the game, it was just back and forth, and just nothing could get established. And I think that's what gave into the tie. And going to the field goal, I mean, how did he miss that? Was it short? It looked
Short.
like it was a terrible vantage point from TV's
It
perspective.
was. It was. Because I thought he had it. It was just short both times. So, it's like, God, it's coming from, like I said, Graham Gano doesn't miss. He's always money. And it's just unfortunate. But again, I feel like for both sides, right, being super objective here, I feel like both teams had a chance to put each other away. And it didn't have to come down to overtime. It certainly didn't have to come down to a tie.
Yeah, later on in the second quarter for the Giants, especially. I mean, around the 8-minute mark in the second quarter, a Darius Slayton, a huge catch. I'm not really sure what the Commanders were thinking. Set up a Saquon Barkley touchdown to tie the game at 10. So a big momentum shift. Exchanging field goals then to tie it 13-13 at the half. But I mean, the Giants, Daniel Jones has a big weapon in Darius Slayton. I saw him through most of this game. He seemed to be pretty well, and he's a pretty good receiver for the Giants.
Yeah, he is, and I think he's the only receiver that the Giants have. He is the receiver that opens up this offense, and I don't understand, the play calling and the game plan, I think's been a little questionable the past couple weeks. We start airing it out way too late, right? I mean, some of these plays in overtime was just like, what are you doing? But that's why we call him Big Play Slay. I know he had a drop, but that was on him. That wasn't on Daniel Jones. He stopped a little bit. He paused. Had he kept going, he would have caught that ball. So I know people like to give Daniel Jones a hard time. From the way I saw it, that wasn't on Jones. But generally, Slayton is that go-to guy for Daniel Jones. He is going to open up this offense, and he does come up big. I mean, you look at the Giants, just decimated with injuries. It's like Kenny Galladay's a non-factor for $72 million. I don't know what we're doing here. You
Yeah,
have
I'm not
Slayton.
sure about him. I mean,
Yeah.
what can you tell? You were going into it. Sorry to interrupt, but I mean, just I thought he would be more of a risk factor for the Commanders trying to guard him, but I didn't really see much of him.
Well, he ended up being inactive. I believe he had well, they said he had an illness, he had a fever in the
Okay.
facility with a mask on. And then, Brian Dable said not today, yesterday in his presser or Monday that he was still had a little bit of a fever. So, he's not sure if we'll see. He's like basically day to day. But I mean, he's a $72 million man. And you're right. Nobody's seen much of him all season. I think he has 4 catches. on the season? I mean, it's just
Yeah, I think around that. I would have to check to make sure, but I think I mean, very little of him
yeah.
for the amount of money the Giants are paying him.
It's crazy. So, yeah, it's like we've got Slayton, we've got Richie James, we've got Hodgins who is coming up big for us. We got
Career
David
touchdown.
Stills. Yeah, so they're piecing it together. I'd really love the Giants to get like a true number 1 wide receiver eventually.
So, yeah, just sort of backtracking to the start of the season for the Giants,
Yeah.
that hot winning streak, they were like looking red hot. Looking at it now, looking back, do you think that was just an easier schedule or were the Giants really playing that well?
I think it's a combination of things, right? It's, that old adage that we all say, you play who's on your schedule. So yeah, I think it was a little bit easier, but we also had a lot of guys like healthy at the time. This offensive line missing Bellinger and Evan Neal for so long. I mean, that really it's impacted Saquon Barkley as well, which I think everyone can see. So, getting guys back healthy is paramount here. And you know what? The Giants kind of have gotten away from what they've done best in the first half of the season was these second half adjustments, right? Brian Dable at halftime, whatever adjustments were needed, they'd come out on fire for the next half and close out the game. It was always very stressful and ugly, but they would find a way to win. But these past few weeks, again, I think injuries are playing a huge factor into this, and the game plan and the play calling really has not been great.
All right, so we've talked about the Giants some. I'd like to get your thoughts on what you saw from your point of view,
Uh-huh.
the Commander style play, because it seemed like the Commanders defense was getting to Daniel Jones, pressuring him a decent amount in this game. I mean, the NFC East, a powerhouse division. Everybody's over 500 now, one of the best winning percentages. We don't have the title, the NFC least anymore. What do you see from the Commanders in this game?
You know what it is? When they get Heineke back there, I don't know. It's just like, and I don't think he's like this amazing quarterback by any means, but it's about chemistry, right? And he just gets this offense fired up. And I feel like if the Commanders can like really piece this together and clean up some of these miscues, right? And hey, the Giants do it too. But they could really be a juggernaut of an offense. Now, maybe that's just refining this quarterback position a little bit. I'm a big Chase Young fan, so I know it's taboo to say like, oh, I wanted him to have wanted him to have a great game and come back and want to see this kid play. But I think the Commanders' defense doesn't get enough credit. I think they're a little underrated.
Well, the reason why Chase Young, this is at least my opinion, the reason Chase Young isn't back is because I think the defense is playing so well.
Hmm.
And they're going to unleash Chase Young, their weapon, once he's A, 100%,
Hmm.
and B, when they need him for a playoff push.
Hmm.
And they're not going to go out and say this, but I think it's because of the Giants' turf that Chase Young wasn't out there. But yeah, neither here or there. But I know
I
people were
can
talking about
agree
the
with that.
Giants. Don't risk it. And they came away with a tie. But yeah, I mean, it was just very odd to
Yeah.
sort of wrap this up for this first segment. Just seeing a tie again, I just don't really know how to feel because it was a division game. Yeah, it's like bad blood for 4 hours watching the game, and it's like, I mean, what do we do now? We tied.
Yeah, there's like no resolution, no closure. At least if it's a loss, you're like, okay. But also, like you had said, this tie's got playoff implications. So, we're not sure how this is going to shake out, but it's going to come back to haunt one of the teams. That's for sure.
Absolutely. The Giants and the Commanders tie at 20. Stick with us. We'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the Kansas City Chiefs kryptonite in the Cincinnati Bengals. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Welcome back. The Kirby on Sports podcast. I'm Josh Kirby. We're joined by Nikki Geist, a great podcaster. Again, thank you for being with us, Nikki. It's now time to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs Kryptonite. And ironically, again, they beat this Kansas City Chiefs team, as in the Bengals, by the same score in the AFC Championship game. I mean, what an exciting game, and just very fascinating that the Chiefs can't seem to beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
This is my new favorite matchup. Like,
Like a
I
new
just
rivalry.
Yes, it really is. It's like my new favorite. Because it's just funny. I feel like there's so many cases of that. Like you look at like the Eagles, they just have the Giants number. The Eagles are 13-3 against the Giants since 2014, right? The Giants can't beat them. And there's just so many instances of that. So the fact that this is a new one is I like it. It's like two of the best teams, two of the best quarterbacks. I love Joe Burrow. I love watching this kid play. I just watching him and Jamar Chase on the same field together is just like, as a fan of the sport, it's amazing to watch. So, I mean, I think, hey, you know what? Kansas City always has everybody's number. So I enjoy it when the tables are flipped a little bit. Last year I called it very, very early in the summer. I said Cincinnati was going to go all the way to the playoffs, to the championship. And I got called a lot of names for that. I got called crazy and I don't know what I'm talking about. So I was right on that one, but this is my new favorite. I'm here for it. I love this new rivalry.
Yeah, I'll say for the Bengals, I feel like the Bengals aren't the same Bengals if Joe Burrow is without Jamar Chase. And we've seen that earlier in the season where Jamar Chase gets injured and it just loses an aspect of the Bengals offense, essentially.
Mhm.
So Jamar Chase in this game, 97 receiving yards, but somebody who in he is a former Washington player. Samonje Perine, he came out,
Yeah.
carried the ball 21 carries for 106 yards. Joe Burrow also had a rushing touchdown, but he came out great impact. In Joe Burrow, almost 300 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. It was back and forth. Halftime, the Bengals were leading 14-10. Then the Chiefs yeah, 14 more points in the third quarter to the Bengals only matching with a field goal. And then the Bengals 10 unanswered in the fourth quarter. So back and forth.
Mhm.
Um, it just looked like just a couple missed opportunities for the Chiefs. I know there was a turnover there later in the game, a huge strip sack. That fumble, Kelsey had the ball, and the Bengals defense literally stripped it out.
Yeah.
I was like, my gosh. So, I mean, it was a competitive game.
Yeah.
Hats off. I don't think I think the Chiefs get over this quickly, and whoever they face next will it might be a bad day for that opposing team. But the Bengals defense looked good, and their offense just looked exceptional. And I just think the Chiefs just did not have that extra oomph like the Bengals did to win this game.
Yeah, and I have to wonder. I feel like the Bengals been flying under the radar a little bit, but like, are they starting to warm up and get hot now at the right time? And we all know what happens when just it could be any team, right? You just get hot at the right time and you start rolling. So, they have Denver next. The Chiefs have Denver, and Denver has scored an average of 11.2 points per game in their past 4 games. So I feel like Kansas City. I know Denver has a great defense, but I just feel like Kansas City is just gonna roll. Like I think they're just gonna wear them down by the second half and just, roll right in on Denver.
Yeah, I mean, but looking at the Chiefs here, I mean, not to discredit because they did have a great game. Patrick Mahomes, he's just you have all the quarterbacks and then you have Patrick Mahomes. It's
Yeah.
like every week you can talk about the same thing, but Patrick Mahomes, he's just a different level. What are your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, no, he really is. I mean, I'd like cut my left arm. I'm right-handed, so maybe I'll give you like my right hand for a quarterback like Mahomes. He's just super talented and he's amazing to watch. He is the type of quarterback where he's going to elevate everybody around him. And he's a game changer, right? He's going to win these games for you. He's going to take you to the promised land. But I got to give a ton of credit to Andy Reid, right? Because Andy Reid is that type of coach where he's not going to try to fit you in the box he wants. He is going to work the box around you. And he has said many times, I'm going to run this team based on the talent that I have, and we're going to do what we do best. So, I just think it's a well run team. They have a lot of talent, and a lot of that goes to coaching.
It looked like Mahomes was spreading the ball out a lot. Marquez Valdez Scantling, 71 yards. Travis Kelsey. I mean, Mahomes to Kelsey, too. One of his primary targets.
Oh,
Travis Kelsey gets hot quick when
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes keeps targeting the ball to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like a cheat code. It's not fair.
The whole Chiefs team is like a cheat
I
code. It's like
know.
a
I
Madden
know.
cheat code. And we've said this before because Carlos, who's not here tonight, he's a big fan of the Chiefs. And I mean, it's a big thing going way back. He became a Chiefs fan because the Cowboys weren't playing too well. But that's
Oh.
yeah, that's too long to get into here. Yeah, we'll have to pull it out of the archives. But um, yeah, 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 like we've said before, the Chiefs are like a Madden cheat code. And yeah, I mean, if this were any other teams, I would be like, how are they going to rebound? What are they going to do next? But they have Andy Reid, they have Patrick Mahomes, and they're going to rebound just fine. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm not worried about the Chiefs at all in this scenario. They just have a problem with the Kryptonite, which is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not worried about the Chiefs. They'll bounce back. I'm not worried about them. It's just like I said, those are some of those teams out there, and they just got your number. I mean, look at the Giants and 2 Super Bowls, right? So
Yeah.
they just have the Patriots number.
Oh yeah, absolutely there. So that the Chiefs falling to the Bengals 27-24. I just wanted to touch on one quick game. Yeah, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but the Vikings and the Jets. The Vikings, some people might disagree with me, but they're a team that is not really talked about. They're 10-2. Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson just Justin Jefferson, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what the Cowboys did, but they did whatever was needed to beat the Vikings. But the Jets keeping it so close to the Vikings, that's just another game I wanted to touch on. The Jets, I mean, how they kept it so close with Mike White throwing 2 interceptions, and but the Vikings still get the win. What were your thoughts on that game?
I mean, so living in New Jersey, everybody's so hyped up for the Jets, right? Like, I mean, who would have thought in the beginning of the season the Giants and the Jets would be playing meaningful football in December? I mean, our seasons are usually done before Halloween even rolls around. So it's very cool. I'm seeing a lot of bandwagon fans kind of jump out of nowhere now. I don't know where all these Jets fans are coming from, but shout out to Mike White. So he's had two games back to back where he's had 300-yard games. So shout out to him. I feel like Minnesota doesn't get a lot of attention. And I feel like that's because a lot of people think they're frauds, right? Like they're a fraudulent 10-2 team. I know Kirk Cousins sucks on primetime. I think we all know that. And they don't have the greatest defense, but man, they can ball out. So it's you got to give them a little respect here. If I had to say a fraudulent team, I feel like Arizona's fraudulent. Like I don't put them on the same level, right? But I'm happy to see the Jets finally have some success here. I thought the Jets have done a fantastic job of getting some fresh young talent building through the draft. They knocked it out of the park in free agency, and they're really putting like a nice program together here. So I don't know that Zach Wilson sees the field again, though.
Yeah. That whole situation of in itself, I mean, just going back to the Zach Wilson press conference and just the stuff that was said, they
Uh-huh.
made the change. But I mean, yeah, I mean, that sort of drama, you would think that this Jets team might have some effect on them, which they're still 7-5, but there's still time to try to turn things around here for the Jets. But playoffs, if they make it, I'm not sure how far they go, but still, Robert Saleh coming in and sort of changing the culture of this Jets team, I think that's really good too.
Yeah, no, he's done a phenomenal job. And Zach Wilson is learning a hard lesson right now. I don't know how you stand up there, in front of the media, in front of your teammates and say the loss wasn't on you. How do you go back in the locker room, right? Like that just doesn't fly. You want to be a leader of the team. You're going to have to take some responsibility. Listen, football is the ultimate team sport. This isn't golf where it's just you, right? You all have to work together. So you have to own your piece of that. But you know what? Well, in terms of playoffs, I mean, I don't know how far they would go. I think they're still a really young team, but they've made tremendous progress so far, and I'm really happy to see it.
So the Vikings over the Jets 27-22. We'll take a quick commercial break and we'll come back with a drive presented by Bear Pest and Termite Services. Stick with us.
Hey, sports fans. Thank you for listening to and supporting the Kirby on Sports podcast with founder and host Josh Kirby, along with lead contributor Dan Dembski. Like, subscribe, and give them a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast from. My name is Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation. Our company helps leaders build engaged and productive teams. Exclusively for listeners of the Kirby on Sports podcast, you can take an opportunity to discover your primary communication style and learn more about effective communication with others. Text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free copy of the Working From Home Communication Assessment, where you'll learn your primary communication style, how to better communicate with others not like you, and tips on working remotely based on your personal communication style. 10 minutes, tons of resources, learn about yourself and your team. Again, text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free assessment report today. I'm Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, where we help you and your team be more engaged and productive by understanding each other better. Back to you, Josh.
Hey there, this is Mark Francis of Icon Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs in the Winchester surrounding area, including West Virginia, give me a call. I've got extensive experience, been in the business for almost 20 years, and would love to help you out. Track me down at Icon Real Estate, iconsells.com, or even give me a call, 540 247-1527. Again, Icon Cells, ICONSELLS.com. And I would love to chat with you and help you out. Give me a call.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the executor of the Kirby on Sports podcast, I'm making the executive decision that there is no more hurry up offense because of the fact that it never goes hurry up. We're changing it to the drive, and just to save time. And this has gone back weeks and weeks and weeks. We will no longer cover the rest of the games. Unfortunately, I mean, I wish we could, but just the amount of time we have. So we're going to do things a little bit differently. It's called The Drive. It's still brought to you by Barrett Pest and Termite Services, but we're going to talk about key things. So you're sort of our test subject here, Nikki.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm excited.
Yes. So it's not like every game anymore. It's going to be key news updates, maybe a couple score lines, but The Drive presented by Barrett Pest and Termite Services. First and foremost, we're going to start off this drive segment with the Ravens and what a crazy turn of events, because they beat the Broncos by a point. Lamar Jackson goes out. The way I see it, the Ravens are slowly crumbling, and it really doesn't help that Lamar Jackson is out. I'm not sure the status, but obviously a lot of concern there with a Ravens quarterback in Lamar Jackson, who has yet to have a long-term deal in place with Baltimore, Nikki. And by the looks of it, who knows if he even wants to stay long-term based on what we've seen out of Baltimore this year.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he left. I complain about this all the time. I'm not even a Ravens fan, but it's like they refuse to get him some help at wide receiver. Like they haven't had a number one wide receiver since 2012. I don't know why they just ignore this position. They've done it for so long. So I wouldn't blame him if he wanted to go somewhere else and the deal doesn't get done. I will say this though. I think Huntley is a good backup for them. He's kind of like Lamar, like 2.0. Like he's athletic and he's used to the offense. He's been there for a little bit now. So I don't think he's a terrible backup to have. He's no Lamar Jackson, but they're similar enough that I think they can get by on a couple games.
You talked about wide receiver, and I don't think signing Deshaun Jackson really did anything, because he only had 10 yards in the game. But that could be the end of Deshaun Jackson. And well, we all know what happened to Deshaun Jackson in the Meadowlands.
Yeah, I was there. So yes, I was at that game.
That must have been painful.
It was painful. I was with my dad. We thought we had it. And no. Deshaun Jackson, that moment, those are one of those like nightmarish moments that you always like replay over and over in your head. So yeah, fun times, great times.
Yeah, but going back to what you said about Huntley, I mean, Lamar was out before Huntley took his place. He's a serviceable backup quarterback. He's mobile on his feet. He had 41 yards in the game when Jackson went out rushing, and he also rushed him for a touchdown. So he's able to use his feet. So that's the thing. But I think just they need a weapon at wide receiver. And like you said, I'm not sure why they're not addressing it. And the list could just keep piling up for the Ravens. And the next thing you know, Lamar Jackson walks.
Yeah. I mean, who could blame him, right? I feel like now he hasn't been like verbally disgruntled like Aaron Rodgers has over the years, or Aaron Rodgers is just like, I don't want to be here. And, I need help. I need a wide receiver. I just don't get it with the Ravens because they're always a contender, right? That division's really tough, but they're always in the mix. They're always in the playoff hunt. They're always in the postseason. You would think that this is a position they would address. I'd love to see Lamar Jackson out there with a true number one wide receiver. I mean, I know there's so much talk about where's Odell Beckham going to go. I want him to come to the Giants, but to me, he makes sense in Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on, the next topic on the drive, the 49ers defeating the Dolphins. I'm kind of shocked. Dolphins did not look good. They dropped to 8-4. I was just very surprised. Tua had 2 picks in the game. He did throw for 2 touchdowns, but the main reason I'm bringing up this game, Jimmy G is now out for the season. So Trey Lance, who the 49ers were like, we're going with Trey. And
Mhm.
thank God they kept Jimmy G, but now Jimmy G's out for the season, unfortunately. And Blake Purdy, he had to come in 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So, yeah, a great first win coming in relief for Jimmy G. But this causes a lot of concern for San Francisco moving forward. And because Jimmy G did a decent job for the 49ers so far. And it's still known that Trey Lance is going to come in afterwards and he's going to be the future. But he was doing pretty well, Jimmy G, for the 49ers. And now he's injured, out for the season. And there's a lot of concern for me in this 49ers team.
Yeah, I would be concerned, especially at the quarterback position here. It's like, well, what are you gonna do? I did see something that I guess Jimmy G could be eligible at the very end of the season to come back. So we'll see about that. But how about Purdy? I mean, do you think that this kid, like in his wildest dreams, thought like his first NFL start here would be, opposing to Tom Brady? Probably never thought that like he would play him. But now they've got Tampa on deck, right? And it's like, I think San Francisco is good enough that they can kind of overcome this, that they just kind of need a serviceable quarterback for right now because they have a ton of talent. They have a really good defense. I just they have Tampa Bay next. So I, I don't know how that's gonna go.
In Tampa Bay, we all saw what they did on Monday night. Never
Yeah.
count Tom Brady out. But
No.
for Blake Purdy, though, his first career start against Tom Brady, that's, I mean, I saw that press conference. Obviously, he's still got to go out and play a game, but to start your first game against Tom Brady, who's been in the league so long, it's like, man, what a better way to start? Just watch the GOAT go out and try to learn from him. Obviously, you're playing on opposite sides of the football, but still, that's, if I were in this position, that's what I would want to do.
Yeah, right. I mean, I wonder if you just kind of get starstruck a little bit. I mean, Purdy's 22 years old. So was he like 2 when Brady started? I mean, it's just,
There's going to be a stat this week. There's
yeah,
going to be a graphic on
yes,
some social media platform
yeah,
saying Blake Purdy was, yeah, let's just say 1. And I
yeah,
could be wrong, but just humor me here. He was 1 year old when
yeah,
Tom Brady, or he wasn't even born yet when Tom Brady made his appearance in the NFL. So it's going to be very interesting. If I were Blake Purdy, and answer this too if you want, Nikki. But if I were Blake Purdy after the game, I'd be like, Tom, you want to do a jersey swap?
yeah. I know people hate the jersey swap though. I know they hate it. I know they do. Um, I know that some fans were upset after the Giants and the Commanders tie that there was some jersey swapping going on because it's like, oh, they don't care. But I kind of look at it as like the game's over, right? You moved on to the next one. I'm all right with a jersey swap. It just doesn't bother me. But if I was, I'd probably want Tom Brady's jersey too. So I'm okay
But
with it.
yeah, there's behind the scenes things you see on YouTube,
Yeah.
like about the jersey swaps. Some players are like, who are you? I'm not swapping jerseys with you. You have to be like kind of well known, It's not like you can't just walk up and be like, hey, you want to do a jersey swap? Or it's
Yeah.
prearranged before because these players have each other's numbers and they're like, hey, let's jersey swap or something.
Yeah.
But I think it's a true sign of respect. We're going down on a bunny trail here, but it's a true sign of respect you have for one another when you do a jersey swap and adding to your collection because obviously they're going to sign it and just another piece of memorabilia because I'm sure these NFL players have a lot of space in their man caves for stuff like that for when
Yeah.
they retire. Just another great memory.
Yeah, and you gotta think, I'm sure a lot of these guys grew up admiring each other, right? So, and they're probably fans of each other. I mean, I think about it in a podcasting context, right? I'm a big fan of other podcasters too. So I know I kind of look at it that way. I don't think the jersey swap is a big deal, but people make it a big deal.
In podcasting, it's more merchandise swap.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I make merch, other people make merch. I'm like, hey, you want to swap or something?
Yeah.
And then
Doesn't
we wear it,
mean-
and
yeah.
comfortable stuff. So now, the reason why I brought up San Francisco and the fact that Jimmy G got hurt, the surprising fact, maybe not really surprising, the Panthers, who are in full rebuild mode, released Baker Mayfield. So now the whole hype train is, where's Baker Mayfield going to go? Because obviously there were teams that would be suitors. And my first initial thought was the 49ers. Unfortunately, not landing that far, but a West Coast team, Baker Mayfield to the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams need a lot of help right now because they are going to finish the season with a losing record. And yeah, I don't know if you'll agree with this, Nikki, but way early on in our podcast, as soon as the season started, we were like in our season previews. Well, the Rams won a Super Bowl. They went absolutely all in, won the Super Bowl, and they're not going to do that well this year. Stafford's on IR. Wolford, I mean, he's been in and out injured, and the Rams need somebody at quarterback, so they picked up Baker Mayfield. It's just weird to see him in a Rams uniform.
Yeah, it is. Listen, I think they picked up Baker because they were being petty. I don't think they wanted the 49ers to grab him. Because I mean,
that's
why?
a hot take.
I think it's like some petty, like Real Housewives type drama. I do. Now, nobody will ever say that, but think about it. I mean, the Rams gave away all their draft picks, right? Because they essentially bought that Super Bowl last year. So, I mean, what your season's done, okay? Like you said, Matt Stafford's on IR. You're not winning. Really, what was the point of it? I think it was to block the 49ers.
That's a really interesting point. That's a really interesting view of that. Who knows? But the winning end of the deal, I'm not sure. Who might finish the season better? I think the 49ers still come out on the upper hand, even though the Rams have Baker Mayfield, unless Sean McVay can coach Baker up really good to, I don't know, try to turn things around and have a salvageable record to end the season.
Yeah.
In salvageable, I mean just enough on paper, like, oh, they made it like close to 500 or something of that nature.
Yeah, either way, not a great season for the Rams. I think we all expected them to take a step back. I didn't think it was going to be this bad, though.
All right, Nikki, last thing on the drive before we wrap things up. Obviously, you're with Channel Side Bets.
Mhm.
I want to know, last week, what were the hot bets that you placed or you recommended for this past week games?
Hold on, I'll tell you in 1 second because I had to take a picture of it.
All right.
I was like, wait a minute, we have to like keep track of what we do here.
Because for me, I can't really. I mean, betting is confusing. So hats off to the people who know how to follow betting. It's like, I look at the under, over, money line. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. It's you know what's funny? My straight up picks record is not great, but picking against the spread, I don't know. Maybe I'm just good at it. So for channel side bets and 3rd and 3, the bets that we rolled with last week, and we hit on our we call it a parlay. So we had the Lions covering the spread. We took the Bengals on the money line, and we went under in the Saints and Tampa Bay game. So we hit on there. If you guys, I actually had people DMing me and they're like, I win money listening to you guys. So that's like the greatest compliment that we can get. So you can hear the betting picks. Actually, you can hear it in 3 places. You can hear it on Wednesday nights, channel side bets, and we jump into it a little bit on Monday nights too. It depends how many fans come on. So we don't always have time. Yeah, we get a lot of fans come on, which is great.
All right, to wrap things up, week 14, what are we looking out for? Since you're the guest, I will let you get first. And with a twist, Nikki, what will you be looking out for week 14? And if you don't mind, throw us a couple bet predictions out there.
Yeah, so a couple that I like. I like the Titans to cover the 3.5 against the Jags. I like the over in Minnesota, Detroit. It's at 52.5. And I'll take the Jets and the points, 9.5 against Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins straight up, but I think the Jets keep it close. So I'm going to take the 9.5 there.
Any games in particular, just based off the slate on week 14, you're looking forward to watching?
Well, not looking forward to watching the Giants and Eagles. So that's one that I'm really debating if I even want to watch that. I think Detroit, Minnesota is going to be a good game. I think we're in for a lot of points. Anybody who's out there playing fantasy football, this is a great fantasy matchup for you. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. It's not the teams that we know and love, but it's just a great rivalry. It's one of the best. So I'm looking forward to watching that. And yeah, I mean, I think Tampa Bay, San Francisco is going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, I think that too. Mark my words. Yeah, I'm gonna say this: the Raiders beat the Rams on Thursday night. Yeah, I
I
think the
agree.
Raiders upset the Rams, so I'm looking forward to watching that. And Eagles and Giants. I mean, NFC East when the Commanders are on a bye week. It's always fun watching the NFC East rivals when the Commanders are not on. So I'm going to be looking forward to that as well. Chiefs Broncos, absolutely not. Patriots Cardinals, absolutely not. Dolphins and Chargers, that might be a good one to look out
I think
for.
that'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And I assume Baker's going to be all set to go for Thursday. I'm excited to see him play, just to see what it's like him with the Rams offense and seeing how he does in his first game as a Los Angeles Ram.
I think we're all curious. So I'm not always one that loves the Thursday night games, but I'm definitely going to tune in. I want to see what Baker's got.
Once again, the Kirby on Sports podcast, our guest, Nikki Geis. Nikki, the floor is yours. Tell us where they can find you, all of your great work.
You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at NikkiNick9384. You guys can find me Monday nights. I host Rush Hour, which is at 7 o'clock. And again, it's a show for all fans. So we just send out the link to everybody. And if you can come and pop on, chat with us for about an hour. We try to give everybody a few minutes. Tuesday night is New York Giants Rush. That's at 8 o'clock. Wednesday at 7 is Third and Three podcast. Sunday morning is Channel Side Bets. So that's your daily fantasy and your betting show. And that's at 11:30. And again, I'll be popping in and out all week. It's Giants Eagles week. So I got a couple shows to do on Friday and Saturday. So I will be sending that out on my social media as well.
Well, you seem very popular. You're a great guest, and
Oh, thank you.
I'm telling you, it was a blast chopping it up with you. For our sponsors, PM Plus Reserve, Shendell Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate and Bear Pest, and Termite Services. This has been another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out, www.kirbyonsports.com, and find us everywhere. Follow us, subscribe, anything. Nikki, such a pleasure being with you
Thank
today.
you.
I appreciate you coming on, and I really hope we can chop it up again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Until the next time, always remember to create greatness. We say so long and peace out.